The longer term trends page is a little different. Our conversion page showed conversions for whatever the date picker was on, plus the last 91 days. Here we want to look at year over year, and by default this is going to be the last 8 weeks. So you're going to ignore the date picker at the top of the page for this one. It's going to be the last 8 weeks, which is this date range here. And then the section with the blue background below is going to be the time period that you pick above for the previous year. So if you want, you can change that. You can go into this date picker and you'll see I'm using something a little bit different here. So rather than setting a fixed number or fixed dates for start and end dates, I'm using the advanced date picker here and then saying today minus 9 weeks and then the end date today minus 1 week, because the data from today or maybe even yesterday probably won't have fully caught up yet. So that's why we don't chart it all the way up until today. Maybe if you wanted to look at a slightly longer term trend, you might go today minus 13 weeks versus today minus a week. Let's apply that. And you'll see that this date range changes. Now, we only change this date down here if we've changed the default 8 weeks above, which we did. So we're going to go do the same thing here. So here you can see in order to go back a year, I've gone back 53 weeks. We added an extra 4 weeks on up here. So I'm going to go from 61 to 65 weeks back, and then an end date of 53 weeks back, and apply that. So here we've got the last 12 weeks compared to roughly pretty much the same period last year. Obviously, Google uses the start of week as a Monday, so October the 26th, 2020 was a Monday, October the 28th, 2019 was a Monday. So it's a pretty comparable period. And again, here we can start to segment by campaign type. So if we only wanted to see shopping on our chart and see the trend there, as well as these 4 key metrics, then we can use the table here to filter, or we could come up the top here and use the filter up the top. That'll have the same impact. So you can see search for this period, 300 grand spent, 3.2 mil in rev. You can see when cost went up. No surprise there. That was Click Frenzy in Australia in mid-November. And then Black Friday. That's probably going to be Boxing Day. It is December 26th, just after Christmas. And then the trend since. And this is just a very, very simple moving average. It's the best Data Studio can do without pulling in data from a bunch of different sources and doing some extra calculations, say in Google Sheets. You're more than welcome to create your own version of that, but to use this data picker, we're limited to the basic moving averages that Data Studio has. So you can see trends in ROAS and revenue over time, and more importantly, compare those trends and see what happened compared to the same time last year. That'll be a lot more useful for you once you're just looking at one account or maybe one campaign type within that one account. And of course, you can narrow it down even further if you wanted to by choosing just an individual campaign. So if I choose something in here that, I was going to try and find a brand campaign. Oh, there we go. That's not a brand campaign, but I know which client that is. Let's have a look at their data. They weren't actually doing anything at all because that campaign didn't exist in the previous year. The agency we took that client over from was only doing DSA when we inherited that account. And then what happened? What's the trend of that campaign across those dates we saw before for Click Frenzy, Black Friday, and into December, and then Boxing Day? It looks like they didn't do an awful lot in that particular campaign. But you can start to explore your campaigns and start to see the trends over time.